Hi, I'm Dr. Bart, and today I'll be not your only product management teacher because I have great guests with me. From India, we have Ankit Shukla, who is the fellow behind the Hello PM cohort training. Hi, Ankit, great to have you.
Thanks a lot for having me, Bart.
And also joining us, I don't know, Andrew, you are well known for your 365 days of content posting for PMs on LinkedIn. I know you have few products in the work, but just let everyone know who you are for the viewers.
No, I'm just some random guy on LinkedIn. It's all. No, I'm a senior product manager at IBM. Work on IT infrastructure products. Helping powering some of the biggest companies in the world. So it's a fun job. I enjoy it, and really love writing about product management and trying to help people break in. That's basically what I write about, and mostly on the angle of building your own products to give yourself the experience you need and the skills you need to get into product management. So that's kind of what my little corner of the internet reads.
So I got those great guests for you today because I wanted to ask a question that pops up in at least my chat from since forever, every now and then, quite often. And I feel that to give a good answer, we need a perspective from all over the world. And the question is, what education should a high school student invest into to get into product management? Or if you simply are a bit older, you can always figure out what courses, what universities will help you out to achieve this goal. And everyone knows that education is a very important part of our lives, but I feel, based on my 2 years of experience of teaching product management, that it's slightly different between different continents. So I think we can start with like America. And Andrew, I will ask you, do you think that high school student needs to have college experience before going into product management? In US, of course.
That's a good question, and not one that I've actually taken the time to really consider. So this is actually going to be off the cuff and just my pure experiences. By no means is this a correct answer. I think it's just one person's perspective, so keep that in mind. I would say the product management career track, at least in the United States, they want professionals who have some degree of experience already under their belt, right? So, and that's not unique to just product management. I think that could go for most career tracks, so to speak, right? Now, I think there are opportunities to jump, you know how some of the most talented players, like LeBron, for example, jumps directly from high school to the NBA. He's exponentially more talented than most high school basketball players at that age, right? I think there are scenarios where if you are exponentially talented at building products or building companies as a high school student, there's absolutely opportunities for you to skip college and go straight to, the professional world. But I would say the average high school student, it's going to be really difficult unless you have somehow given yourself product management experience, so to speak, by building and experimenting and building things during your 4 years in high school or primary school. That's the quick take on that. That said, here's a caveat. IBM actually does this really cool program. I think it's called P School. Gosh, I can't remember the exact name of it. But they go service underrepresented high schools in America, and they teach courses on how to code from ninth grade till 12th grade. Yeah, and then they hire these students as interns during the summer, and then after they graduate high school, they have a job waiting for them at IBM. And the beauty of it is they don't have to go to college, so they can save on that cost. They're already making like a really great living wage, and they're really talented. They're more talented than a lot of people coming out of college. So there are programs that exist like that.
It's so awesome. I've seen similar thing from Intel but they were recruiting from the college early years. It wasn't a way to circumvent the college. It was a way to pick up the best talent before it's actually an evident talent, before anyone else
Yeah,
picks
yeah.
them up from the market. But
But it's even developing that talent too, right?
yeah,
Because in ninth grade, nobody's really like knows what they're going to do with their life or have that talent, so to speak. But they're developing over that course of that 4 years, which is cool.
So my European perspective will be quite similar, but first I would like to ask how the things look in India in this regard, because I think that it's quite different actually, like in terms of the culture and yeah. So go ahead.
Correct. So in India, like in India, we have something known as +2. So high school there is known as maybe +2 over there. So after +2, people are going to decide that yes, I want to go ahead and do this thing in my life. And in India, we have mostly three options for most of the people out there. Either you go ahead and do something which is related to commerce or economics, or you go ahead you choose science. Science is again now breaking into two parts. One is maths, and the other is the biology or the medical or the medicine part out there. Okay, I believe that when you are just out of the high school or maybe +2 in India, I do not believe you have to go ahead and maybe choose like a path out there as in yes, I want to commit my career to this particular thing out there, because product management, we all know, we did not started as product managers, right? You were somewhere else, I was somewhere else. I wanted to be an engineer, I wanted to be something else. So I would say like the 4 years that you get into engineering or your medical degree or something else there, that should be your constructive years. You should decide, you should explore the world and try to understand what happens. The most important thing is actually not I would not say the study that is happening over there, but the kind of internship that you do, because in India at least we do not have like a formal program in product management yet. So people that come to Hello PM, that come to me for mentorship, they have been exposed to product management while they were doing an engineering internship, while they were in a product company out there. They interacted with product manager, and now they are really the fans of product management out there. So if you're early in your career, you don't need to decide. Go ahead, explore the world. And if you are someone who thinks that, yes, there are so many things that I can do, and I do not have a designation or profile for myself, then my friend, you are good to become a product manager out there.
Thank you. So the Polish and I think general European perspective is that it's quite funny because for many of the countries in Europe, the education, the higher education is free. It's sponsored by government, and there's almost nothing attached to it. You only have to pay for your accommodation, your books, yada yada. And because of that, there is this funny situation that you have basically two models. One of them is the US model, like it's in UK, where there is no free education for college, and it's a little bit more elite because a lot of money goes into it. While in the countries where it's sponsored by the government, it's almost expected that you have any masters. And I mean, it's like no one will consider you for a serious job unless you have the papers to prove that you have the talent already. So you studied your own product, you are a startup owner, and there are 16-year-old startup owners that are successful and become millionaires very quickly. But those are like the top of the tops, the most brilliant children. The average folk like myself will have to go through university to have the basic credentials to get a job, and it's only that. It's basic credential. No one cares what was on your paper. No one cares about the university you ended, and especially in Poland, it's very visible because the government free universities are the ones that are the elite that give apparently good education. And the private one, where you pay, the popular opinion is that you paid for it, so you're the client, you don't care, you'll get the paper anyway, and the education quality sucks, apart from like maybe 2 or 3 elite universities. Which leads me to the second question, which I managed to answer in my first self-question. Do you know like of universities that you think that should be in future product managers' mind first and foremost in your country? And how about we start with Ankit this time?
Yeah, right. So I think in India it is very obvious that there are like thousands and thousands of colleges in India. But if you take like the Pareto principle out there, you will see that almost like Pareto principle is actually 20-80%, but here it is like 0.1% of the universities are actually creating most of the product managers out there, while other universities are not doing a great job. So the 5 universities that I could name in terms of MBA, it is actually like all the IIMs that we have, like basically the IIM stands for Indian Institute of Management, and those are like the one we have in Ahmedabad, we have in Bangalore and Calcutta, that is known as IIM ABC. And then we also have an ISB, which is Indian School of Business, which is like these days, if you like look for any product manager in India, I could see that about 20-30% of them would be from that particular college out there. We have been fortunate to like work with and learn with few of them out there. So that has been the situation in India. But for other of the colleges, which is like 99% of the other colleges out there, we haven't seen like that kind of success rate. So students there, they cannot rely on campus placements. They cannot rely on the things that they are teaching over there in order to get into product management. They have to work harder in order to like maybe build something known as value qualifier that N2 I think has coined out, and that is going to help them out in order to get into product management.
That's actually very interesting, and something I clearly see when reviewing resumes, that the Indian resume will give you the exact grades, the exact courses, university. There's a very high mark on that. Whereas in Poland, no one cares about your grades in university.
Correct.
You survive the masters, you're good enough.
Yes. Correct. And also, it is also true for so more than the grades, what matters is that at least for the company. So I have been on the employer side as well. We have had many product managers, and I could see that more than grades, we are looking for the kind of colleges out there. Okay, so if you are into the top 5 college, we'll at least consider you. We'll take the formal interview definitely, but you are more likely to get considered. But if you are from rest of the colleges out there, we'll make sure that we are either sending you an assignment or making the process a little bit tougher for you. Mm-hmm. That is sad, but that is the scenario out there.
Thank you. So, Andrew, do you think there are universities that are preferable for future product managers in the US, and are they located somewhere near the Silicon Valley?
I love your double-sided question. So to answer the first question, if you're a person looking to do future product management, I think the tough thing about these colleges in the United States is there's not a single program that comes to mind for an undergraduate that should, hey, if I want to do product management, I should go to this school. Now, there are tracks like majors that we choose, and I would say if you're gonna try to get a product management job out of undergrad, then your best bet is to choose schools that are strong. This is the way I think about it, and other people could have different opinions, but I would look at schools who have really strong entrepreneurial culture, right? So, for instance, where I went to school, NC State, they're consistently ranked in the top for entrepreneurship. And that's because almost every college of engineering, college of business, college of textiles, all of these colleges inside NC State have these entrepreneurial endeavors and opportunities to get involved in building products from the ground up, no matter what major you choose, right? So I would look at colleges that prioritize entrepreneurship. And then I would look at choosing majors that are what I call product adjacent, right? So you could look at software engineering majors. You could look at design, architectural design, those kind of majors. The ones that kind of stew the design thinking mindset within you. And then obviously business majors are another one. So there's tons of different tracks you could go down there, but those I would say are the top 3, majors that produce the most PMs that I've seen come into industry. And let me just dispel one myth here. I don't think there's obviously Ivy League schools like Harvard, Yale, all the Ivy League schools, right? If you have an undergraduate degree from any of those schools, you're going to get looks no matter what profession you try to go into. So yeah, if you want to try to go Ivy League, it's going to help you probably get looks for getting into product management. But that said, there is no rule out there barring anyone from being a product manager from any school, big, small, local, national, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Any person from any major, from any college can become a product manager. So don't get down on yourself if you don't get into an Ivy League school. I went to a public school my whole life, right? So It's totally possible.
And for those of us who are not familiar with the term Ivy League, and that if you can just explain to my colleague doesn't know, so I want to explain it to him.
Yeah. So Ivy League schools are these ultra powerful. I don't know. You could probably Google the definition better than I can explain it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I grew up thinking about them was, if you are really smart or top of your class in high school, then you might have an opportunity to go get an Ivy League education, which means top of the line, top, maybe like intellectually, the top like 12 schools in the nation is basically how you can
Mm-hmm.
think of it.
Right. So the story, yeah. So I think the story behind the historical story is that there has been a league out there, which is like a pool of games that people play, and only these 12, 13 colleges are allowed over there. That is why
Yeah.
they call that the Ivy League colleges. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's good. That's good. Good history. Now, let me just add very quickly, there are graduate school programs that are dedicated to product management, and they're starting to become more popular. I know where I live in Durham, North Carolina, Duke has a program called MEM. It's like a Master's of Engineering Management, and that's very product focused. There's obviously the University of Washington has one. There's one in Virginia, I think it's VCU. And then there's business schools, like MBA business schools, like let me think, UCLA or MIT or Carnegie Mellon. These business MBA programs have a strong bend towards product management. So there are several out there. You just have to Google and do your research.
So I would like to return to this topic at the end of this call, but before then, do you guys believe, and I guess I'll start with Andrew this time, do you need an MBA or a product management certificate from whatever, whether it's product school, whether it's Udemy or it's another organization, to increase your chances of landing your first product management position? Do those certificates make any favor, make any difference, or not really?
Yeah. Short answer, no. Nuanced answer, it depends. And we don't want to get into every single nuance and nook and cranny of this conversation, but I would just say this. If you build your own products on the side, that counts as experience. If you have experience as a salesperson or a designer or an engineer or a customer success person, that counts as product experience if you're in those product adjacent roles, right? So there are ways of translating the achievements and the impact that you've had in your career to transition into product management, no doubt. Now, if you are coming from something that is like parks and recreation, you do like kids camps, right? Like, and you want to be a software product manager, you might need to take some extra steps at giving yourself those skills, because if it's not cutting it as you're building these things on the side, you're in an industry and a career that's totally different, right? So now you need to try to find a way in that is a way to pivot your career towards that. Sometimes an MBA can be a good decision for that. I personally have an MBA, but you heard my answer at the beginning. I definitely don't believe that you need an MBA. In fact, it's actually, I think, a form of procrastination for most people. If the ROI is there and it makes sense, go for it. For me, in my case, it made a ton of sense. It was all about, for me, I launched 3 products during my MBA, and not only that, but I had a scholarship to go back. So I treated it like more as like a job where I was launching products and getting paid versus going to school and getting an education, right? There's a difference. So figure out what that right path looks like for you. Don't go into crippling debt to become a product manager. I would try other routes first.
Yeah, I think it's like a common theme that people believe that you need education, certificates, but in the end, you need your experience, you need your own product to showcase your skills, and you need those communication skills to tell your story, to translate whatever you did as a product manager being built, that those are the features that will be used in IT product management that you already acquired while doing something else. However, while teaching and talking to many people in India, I found out that there's a common belief that without an MBA, there's not even a glimpse of chance of becoming a product manager. Is this really the case, Ankit?
Yeah, actually you already know the answer, which is a myth out there. Okay, so I'll see that like more than what like where you do MBA from or whether do you do or not an MBA, it actually depends on what you did during the time of an MBA, which Andrew has like recently gone ahead and told that he has not 3 products over there. Okay, so MBA is could definitely be a catalyst, as in you have, if you have done great things, if you have learned business, because business sense is also something that is important for you. Okay, so what you do in that MBA is more important. Okay, rather than whether you do an MBA or not, and I would say that yes, MBA could be a catalyst, but that is definitely not an eligibility criteria. Okay. I have met so many people, and it has become more common these days that people are going ahead and even they are coming from arts background, economics background, which are very frowned upon in at least in a country like India. And they are exactly able to go ahead and get into product management and really into good companies out there. So MBA just, it's a catalyst, but it can never be an eligibility criteria for most of the companies. I would say almost all of the companies at this point of time.
And how about product
what about
management?
certifications?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For certification, also understand that certification, no one is going to give you a job just because you have that particular
Hmm.
certification written on your resume. At least we have seen it from the employer's perspective, so we know that is not going to happen, right? So, but how you can go ahead and make use of that certificate? So, in that certificate, you have learned certain concepts out there. Can you implement it in order to create something such as maybe a value qualifier for the lack of better word, or maybe can you create something to showcase people that yes, I know product management. Okay, so understand. I think everything boils down to one thing. I, as an employer, do not have a conviction that you know product management. Okay. So how can you go ahead and convince me? If you can convince me with your work, with your degree, whatever that you have done in your life, if I get convinced, I'm going to willing you to give you a job. Certificate does not do that thing. Like at least the good employers, they do not get convinced by the certificate, no matter where you get it from.
So thank you. That's that's completely what I thought. And in Europe, basically, I've applied to jobs all over the place. In UK, in Poland, where I am from, to Czech Republic, to Denmark, Netherlands, Spain. And everywhere, no one cared for any certificate I had to show. The only one I had back then, which is relevant to product management, was the Agile Scrums Organizations PSPO1. But literally, it was mentioned on one interview as in like, oh, you have it, cool. They didn't notice. No, that really doesn't make any difference, especially that I made it because the company had budget while I was already doing the job. So it was the most boring certification ever because you were in a room of people that were just grasping the basics and you were already doing that by day and you basically could switch places with the teacher.
Yes, yes.
So
Right, correct, correct.
before Mhm.
I was just going to say this. The first question they're going to ask you in every interview, unless you're going for a FANG type of interview, the first question they're going to ask you is, so what products have you built? And walk me
Yeah,
through the process.
yeah.
That is the question. And that could take 45 minutes, right? So you're not going to get that from a certification.
Yeah, and most of the time that is the only and single question that people are going to ask you and that decides everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Bart.
So for the final, I now it's not a question; it's like a discussion. If you had your young cousin, age 18, 19, and he would ask you what major to take, what program should I take to become a future product manager? I guess, Andrew, let's begin with you. You already said it, and it's actually cool that US already has product management higher universities. But if that's not in the budget of your relative, or it's too far, or maybe it's not the school she wants to go, what majors would you recommend to practice? Do you think it's better to go coding, entrepreneurship, maybe data analysis?
Yeah, that is a good question. Honestly, so I hate my answer that it depends. But but I would look at.
Hey, you're a product manager. This is like the go-to answer, right?
I know. I would say it depends on my cousin, right? So if my cousin, I would tell him, hey, what do you feel like you're gifted at? What are your skills? What are you passionate about? And what do you feel like the world values? Like what does the market want, right? Now, the intersection of those three things, figure out which major makes the most sense. Most 18-year-olds have no idea.
That's the problem. Yeah, we've
And
been
that
there,
was me
right?
myself. Yeah, and so here's the beauty that at my alma mater at NC State, there was this major you could choose as a freshman called first year college, and it was no major. It was let me take classes to explore what I want to do. It's similar to a gap year. So I would say like don't be afraid to take the gap year. Don't be afraid to take a no major, no declaration, and take some time to explore the intersection of what are you passionate about, what are your skills, what are you good at, and what does the world value, and then choose your major. And if it leads you to a product adjacent role like coding, like software engineering or design or business, then go the route that makes the most sense
Mhm.
for you, right? What makes sense for you isn't the thing that's going to make sense for everyone else.
It's actually funny what you said because I actually went through a journey that I began picturing myself as a dentist. Then somehow it was all I was prepared to be an architect, and I ended up in a course called Computer Control System on an engineering degree. So it's a good thing to get the young person and ask, and what do you want to do? Like, I didn't ask that question very late into the process, and my parents weren't happy when they paid a lot of money for the architecture preparation exams, and like 60% the way I said I hate it, I don't want to do it. Like, how maybe Ankit, maybe you have some other great thoughts on that, and what would you recommend to your relative in terms of taking which course to take?
Yeah. So I would recommend, like, I would only extend like what Andrew has said. Very rightfully, he has said that you have to match on where is the interesting, like I think that concept is known as ikigai or something. So what the world values, what you are good at, and what is needed in the world actually. Okay. So if you should go ahead and pursue it, but I understand that 18 years old, 17 years old, they do not know actually what they want. Okay. So I would go ahead and maybe tell them, to my younger brother or maybe to younger myself, I would say that forget about that term product management. Okay. Go ahead, do what you like, and maybe explore yourself for 4 5 years, because I myself was in the same situation. Okay, so when I got from like high school or plus two out there, I wasn't knowing like what I have to do. The best option that was available to me was coding actually, because I've been coding for a couple of years before I get into like a real college out there. Okay, and that is how I've gone ahead and succeeded out there. So just one lesson out there, or one piece of advice, which is forget about the word product management. Do what you really like to do, and that is also like helpful for the world as well. Okay, and then go ahead, in the meanwhile, go ahead, try to get the real experience, and I believe that if product management is made for you, you are made for it, you guys are going to do it.
I would actually modify this answer for myself and say that look at the courses that are most likely to bring you to product management and decide what is most right for you. Because say you have this weird thing that you want to become an IT product manager, but at the same time you're passionate with history. I don't think the history major will help you in any way. But at the same time, if you hate coding, then there's no point in forcing yourself into
Yeah.
5 years of practicing coding. And I actually think that coding is not like the engineering route you should take for product management as like the first choice. You need to find something that combines data analysis, engineering, and
Yes.
entrepreneurship. For some, it will be business and marketing, but for at least I don't have the highest regard for the business and marketing university classes in Poland. But if there was
Yeah.
something that basically is a CEO training that also gives you the technical skills, then go ahead, or just choose anything related to engineering, data analysis, or business, and make sure you're creating your own IT product during that. And
Yes.
I have a video. You guys have a lot of materials on how to create your own products, but I actually have a student that began her product position that let me know that she got promoted. I'm not sure if from junior to mid, or like from some product role to actual product manager, but she started and she got in because she used product management principles to grow her Instagram profile. So she went to the job interview, having some consultations with my materials, and having a story of a person that wanted to have a goal, that had a goal with her Instagram profile, and she day by day, week by week, month by month, worked towards achieving it, testing what works, what gets response, what doesn't, how to change her work, and she made it. She got successful. So that's the story I really like to tell. And maybe to complete this call, because Andrew, probably you're starting to be in a hurry. So let's start with you before we end. What would be the side project you'd suggest taking by basically a very young adult to prove one can become a product manager?
Yeah, honestly, I think the lowest barrier side project to build is a newsletter. I would try to find a topic that you really like and you could write about a lot and you could research and other people are starting to get interested in. And then I would try to build up that newsletter, get as many subscribers as I could, potentially turn to premium, start selling ads, and then potentially flip the newsletter and sell it into like a blogging business or something like that. That's what I would do.
Ankit,
I think that is correct, and I'll also build upon that. So first is like the newsletter. I would have given that answer definitely because it is easier to create and get an audience out there. Just I would add one thing, that create something that the customers of which are already in your network. Okay, so the one problem that people face is that they do not get the initial audience, and then that they get motivated. Okay, so I would tell you that if you are maybe 18, 19 years old, you already have a friend network or a teachers network. Create something for them, maybe a newsletter that is only for teachers who are looking to teach these kind of people. Okay, then I think you are going to get that 10, 15, 20 users that is going to motivate you for the next step out there. And that is mostly the differentiation between whether you are going to take that side project to the next level or not. So that would be my answer.
I would also recommend doing like a Medium blog or maybe YouTube channel and just have like very modest goal of having, say, 1,000 subscribers. And that's all. That's when you think you achieved success. And if it's too much of a fuss, find something else, but have a success story. It's a product. It's something that you can show and where you can take different product management learnings and apply them day by day, right? So guys, thank you for coming in.
Chose media.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't thank you enough. That was really great. I hope we can do it again and just throw in topics you think we can discuss, the three of us, and I think we can make for very engaging and helpful videos. For those of you who want to know about more about Ankit, Andrew, or myself, I'll drop links in the description of the video. You'll definitely find link to, now let's get it right, Hello PM cohorts and be a part of Ankit's teaching. In the meantime, you can check out my Udemy courses and be on the lookout on whatever Andrew's work will produce in the near future. Wink, wink. So thank you again, and speak to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for having me. See ya.